Hello and welcome to Deliberately Creative. I'm Stephanie and I want to welcome you to another drawing lesson from my sketchbook. This time I'm doing a really sweet autumn leaf that has a little heart torn out in the middle of it. I know it's very Pinteresty or very Instagrammy, but it's a lot of fun. Come with me and I'll show you how fast, fun, and easy this really is to draw in and color. I have seen this really pretty leaf. It's something that people do with these autumn leaves where they take and sort of tear a heart out in the center of it. And it just looks so pretty and so sweet with the deep oranges and yellows and then a little bit of green in the background, but not too much. Mostly gray green with gold and yellow. So I am going to use the Inktense to color in my drawing. So what I'm doing here is I'm using a Pitt Artist pen. It's the dark sepia. And I found a really pretty autumn leaf. And I'm going to go ahead and draw the outline. So first I'm starting with my stem. Just a little stem like that. And this is a maple leaf. And maple leaves tend to have 5 lobes. It's kind of like drawing your hand. So if you were to take your hand and make it a pointy bit here and come in and a pointy bit up here and do the same thing, you could end up with a maple leaf. So I'm starting off here and I'm going out, and it's okay to let the edges wobble a little bit. And this one kind of bent back. So I'm not sure how that worked, but that's kind of bent back and then it dips in. So that's like one, like your little finger. Then it comes across and goes out a little bit, and then it's the real part of that second finger in. And it looks like I'm going to be going across pages here because I misjudged on where I started. That's okay. You know, sometimes things like that happen. So I'm going to take that leaf up and out. It's got a little bump in it. It's going to come back down. It's going to come in a little bit more. It's going to go out. This is like your pointer finger now. So we've got little finger, ring finger, middle finger, pointer finger. And then it's going to come in and go out and around, out, down, and then back. And this looks like a very random, odd little thing, doesn't it? And that's okay, because we can have a lot of fun with it. There's going to be a heart here that was like torn into the leaf. And I want to get that in before I start drawing the veins. So that way I'm not drawing a line and then ending up with the heart. So I'm just going to take and draw kind of a long, pretty little heart with sort of an irregular edge to it, just so it doesn't look like it was punched out with a paper punch or something. Now the veins in this are actually coming from the stem. My stem isn't quite thick enough, so I'm going to just thicken it up. Look at that. It's okay that there's an extra line going down the middle. I might even thicken it up even more off this edge. There we go. Easy peasy. Don't stress over it. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. because these leaves are natural and they all have a different personality, different way of evoking autumn leafiness. Now I'm just drawing some veins. I'm not going to draw every single vein because that would take me forever. But I want to draw a few veins here and there, mostly meeting up to those extra little nodes. It's like a little piece that's sort of sticking out right here and right there. Then there's the one that's going up. See, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, I did get 5. One that's going up, and then it comes across this way, and I want that vein to kind of match up a little bit. And one that's going up all the way out to that very top one right there. And if you notice, I then come back in alongside of it to kind of thicken it up just a little bit. I'm just getting the main veins in right now. There. And then again, right up along that edge. And then the final one, right here. And it's thicker where it joins in down here at the base. And it gets a little bit thinner as it goes out to the tips. Now I know that there are some veins going out to these points. And I'm going to be grabbing that Inktense and I'm going to be putting most of my colors in with that. So I'm not too worried about putting in my shadows. This makes a nice little coloring sheet. I'm going to rotate this a little bit, make it a little bit easier to see what I'm looking at. There. And we're going to have one that kind of goes around. And up to this point here, and then out, kind of meet up into it, and out to the edge, and maybe up this way, like that. All right, now I want to go ahead and kind of thicken up that spot right there, like that. And then I want to give just the tiniest little margin of an edge, not all the way around, just in areas that I might be able to see based on the angle that I am looking at it. And that gives us the illusion of a little thickness of this leaf. There we go, like that. And now what I want to do is get some of the Inktense on here. And I think what's going to happen here first is it's going to get a general wash of some yellow just across pretty much everything. So, or maybe a yellowy green color. Let's see here. That's kind of a muddy, murky, yellowy green color. And you notice it's not picking up those colors that are underneath. This that's on the paper here is not water soluble anymore because it's already been wet. And now I probably should have wet my whole thing down first. There we go. Let's just get it wet. Since we're going to be making this leaf all autumny colors, it's okay to have it, the background not be perfect, because this is going to be like there's other trees and things in the background. I wish I would have done this on the page the right way, but I'm just going to live with it, because you know what? This is a sketchbook, and it's a place where you can work out ideas for things you want to do in the future. So I might just be working out an idea here for a bigger painting, or a painting on a real piece of watercolor paper. But this is Inktense, and Inktense is ink. So once it dries, it is not going to re-wet on me. So I want to bring some of this brown, just sort of tapping it in. It's sort of a terracotta looking, sort of like an old leaf look. Just start putting some of that in. You know, it's not, I am not a watercolorist. I am a I really am a pen and ink artist. That's what I love to do, but I'm trying to stretch myself just a little bit here and do something that's a little bit outside of my regular. And I want to soften some of those spots up before they dry. Let's see, I want to get a little bit of that in here. A little bit more of that yellow in there, because this is going to be considerably darker or different than the colors I'm going to use on the actual leaf. The leaf colors are going to be much brighter. These are actually going to be much more muted back here in the darker, less what do I want to say? Less focused. It's going to be more out of focus back here. So it's kind of like there's leaves, bringing it right up to the edge of that leaf, but I'm trying to not actually paint in that leaf anymore for right now. Get this up against the edges. Just throw some more of this other color out here, maybe some of this color. I do not know what the colors are that I'm getting, because the Inktense blocks, you have to actually look at each stick and hope that you haven't already worn the number off. So I'm using kind of a brownie color, sort of a burnt umber color, kind of a burnt sienna color, a raw umber type of color. Just natural colors you would find out in nature. Sort of a green gold color. And that's about it for that. Trying to keep this a little loose back here. You know, Inktense is not watercolor, so it does do things a little bit differently than watercolor. And again, I am not a watercolorist, so I really haven't practiced those skills. So this is more of an exploration than a tutorial for this one. How's that? Let's see. There's some more colors that are kind of almost like bokeh, which are sort of circles of out of focus color. I don't want them to end up looking like berries, but I do want to get some of these sort of out of focus, just sort of out of focus dots here and there. There we go. And then I want, let's see. Ooh, that's really dark. But I want some of that very lightly. Not all over the whole thing, but just in a few spots. This is a really dark. So let's see, the number on that one was 2000, whatever that means. Okay, so now I just want to drop some more water, see if I can get this to sort of smudge out just a bit. This is a very, very staining color. There we go. Just sort of soften that up a little bit. I want them to look like there's, you know, the colors, it was darker in some areas, it was lighter in others. If I get the paper wet before I pick up the pigment, then it doesn't look quite so much like I just threw a paintbrush down on it. There we go. All right, so, oh, I want to get a little bit of that brown right here in this area. Let's see. There we go. I'll just rotate it like that. A little bit of that brown right up in here. Not a lot. That's about all I'm going to do with that right there. Work this back. Work that down into that area right there. Okay. So let's see. And now I am going to take a paper napkin and just sort of blot to pull some. One, it's going to pull some of that pigment off. Two, it's going to give some irregular edges. And three, it's just going to make sure that I don't have any puddles. Okay, there we go. That's looking pretty interesting. So now I want a really bright yellow. So I'm going to grab some clean water, back with some clean water. So now make sure my brush is clean, and I am going to grab some bright yellow. See how bright that yellow is? That's brilliant. Okay, so, but before I get that bright yellow, I just realized I probably should put a little bit of color, or a little bit of water, before I drop the color, because I don't want the color to just land in a spot. Even though it's going to be really bright to start off with. See, this way we ended up with a little tiny wash of some very pale yellow. The more water you put into the ink tints, the more diluted the pigment is. So there we go. We're going to get some of this bright yellow on here. We want sunlight shining through. We want those gold spots to be maintained. There's going to be some orange and a little brown, some red. Most of these veins are going to get more of that red tone to them, that orangey tone. But there's these spots of yellow, and I don't know where they're going to end up being. So I kind of wanted to get yellow over the whole thing. And some of it I want to be really bright. There we go. Trying to not be too fussy. There we go. So see, that's how we are so far. That's looking cool. I'm liking this a lot. All right, now I'm going to grab some of this kind of orange color. And it's going to end up having some of that along here, a little spot of it up in here. The neat thing about this, if I can keep working on it while it's still wet, these colors are going to blend and soften. And I'm not going to have the harsh lines so much. Get some right there. A little bit up here, kind of more around the edges. A little bit right in here, and some more right out here on the edges. There we go. I'm not worried if much gets on the background there because these are all blendy natural colors. Now I want to take a bit of a brighter orange because it's going to mix on. Ooh, well, that's really a pumpkin-y color. Maybe that will be a splatter. Oh yeah. That's nice. It's kind of a splatter dot color. Not too, let's just splatter it. Oh, that's cool. I like that. And then we're going to take a little touch of this sort of sienna color and mix it into the orange, I think. So I'm going to bring this kind of along some of the veins. I'm not actually drawing the veins in, I'm just sort of putting some color between and around. But I don't want to be doing too much more on this. I kind of like this more loose leaf without it being too fussy, or because that's my problem, is that I get in and then I start wanting to make more details than it really, really needs. Now I do need to get the stem painted in. So we're going to put a dark color on there, that sort of brick orange color. Maybe a little bit of a more red red orange here. Just sort of mix it in. There we go. By mixing it with that orange brown that was on the table, I was able to pull that color down just a little bit. There's some red in there. And if I really wanted to get these stems in, or not the stems, if I really wanted to get these veins in with that red, I would have to let this completely dry and then go in with my very fine point. But instead, I'm just going to sort of draw a few across the wet paint. And we are just about done. If you enjoyed this video, I hope that you will click that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends, share it on your social media. Make sure that you leave me a comment and let me know, did you enjoy this video? Do you want to see more along these lines with more of the painting in it, or just stick with the pen drawings? And as always, go out, do something creative, take care of yourself so you can take care of those around you. And I hope to see you back here again really soon. Let's see, put my signature right here. Bye-bye.